thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Plebian Racing World Tour Season 2 finale. We are at Florida, where it's supposed to be sunny, but it's a little bit overcast here today. We're at Sebring Raceway, home of the 24-hour series, and we're finishing it off here for the Audi TT Cups. I am joined today by Luke Bowmeister in the booth, who's not doing a lap guide, but will be doing trackside commentary. Luke, you want to say hello to everybody?
Good evening, ladies and germs.
Good evening indeed to all the germs out there, boys and girls. Let's go over the championship standings right now. And as far as we can see, the contestant to Penguin's reign, James Leeder, has not shown up yet. So it looks like Penguin might be able to walk away with the crown for Season 2 of the World Tour, leading with 96 points. James Leeder trailing behind with 79. The only real possibility is if Penguin has some terrible races, allowing James Leeder to get those 20 points free and clear. Conrad Jaworski with 60 points might be able to make something happen over James Leeder if he's a no-show today. Joseph Ciao in fourth is going to be having his work cut out for him tonight versus Evan Huelsman, Ozzie Wilson, and Jordan White, who are all within 10 points of contention, so one wrong move in either of these 30-minute races will be catastrophic. So headed down from Jordan White, we have Pasha Patterson, who's not too far off the mark himself there, within 11 points or so. Kevin Ospina down in 10th, rounding out the top 10 with 27. Going down to 11th place is our commandant, Dave Martin, with 21 points, holding down 11th place in front of the good neighbor with 19. It's quite tight back here with Kurt Moss down to 18 points, with the Smoke Man with 17 points in 14th place. Joel Dallas coming and going from this series with 16 points in 15th place. Brett Zumina in 16th place with 14 points. Brandon Williams, VKR, Blizzard, and Monroe are going to be rounding out the top 20. We have Xavier T, Rookie Fagan, and Corey Robbins joining us for this series. Thank you very much for being out here, and that's going to be all she wrote for the championship standings. Luke, what are you going to be excited to see, and who do you want to keep an eye on this race?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting race because, of course, it's the last round, but also we have a double header, two short races on a very technical and challenging track. Yeah, I don't know who to keep my eye on. Obviously, the standings aren't super close, as we saw at the end of the season. But yeah, I hope we just see some really close racing, and I'm sure we'll be checking out some action with the difficult track that is Sebring.
Absolutely, and I'm agreeing with you there. The one person I'm excited to see but don't see him yet is Pezzelato. I mean, we see Evan Huelsman right now in front of us going around the track right now in provisionally second place as guys are just getting their outlaps completed and finishing up their first hot ones. But not seeing Pezzelato who would have put on a good show for us as he typically does. Huelsman immediately setting a 15.8, but getting jumped by Jaworski with the 14.572. What kind of lap times do you think we're going to see here, Luke?
Well, we'll definitely be in the 13s. As we saw in practice, there was a 13. Conrad Jaworski's already put down a 14.5, and Dave Martin is on a 15.1. So another good showing from Dave in qualifying, I think, this week. Let's hope that he doesn't end his race so early like last week.
I'm going to leave my comments there as we're going to ride on board with Dave Martin for just a lap or two and not put too much pressure on him. But maybe, Luke, you want to walk us through some of the do's and do nots here at Sebring.
Yeah, well, in general, the track is obviously extremely bumpy. I guess a lot of it is made out of this like concrete slab that is typical in North American cities. It doesn't make very good road surfaces, and that really shines here at Sebring. But yeah, it's a challenging track. It's got a lot of interesting corners that are all pretty bumpy. So even when you think you're getting the right line through the corner, you get a bump out of nowhere that unsettles the car, and then all of a sudden you're heading towards a wall. So I think the two key corners for a really good lap are the first corner and the last corner. Big sweeping wide corners where it's sometimes very difficult to know where the line or the best line is. There's just so much track there, but it's all very bumpy and they're quite fast. And the other ones, like this corner that Dave's going through, is very late apex and quite tricky to get right. You get on that curve on the outside a bit too far to the left, and suck you off the track into the dirt, so that'll just kill your speed down the straight there. But luckily Dave didn't do that on this lap, so this might be a decent qualifier lap. We'll see.
You know, and I'll have you mind your tongue about these concrete slabs. This was the American cornerstone of our World War II efforts in getting these runways built for our military aircraft, and that's what Sebring was, an old airfield and an airstrip back in the World War II days. So that's why these concrete slabs are so well known and loved here in North America, and a lot of these old airports have turned into racetracks. You'll see these slabs tried and true.
That's all well and good. Nice bit of history. I'm not sure why they would still be used in modern roads, though. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe not in modern roads. I agree with you there, but the reason why they came out to be this way is they're there from a long time ago. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it to defend America.
Nah, that's fair enough. It is a cool track, and generally it can be a little bit tricky to make an interesting track on an airfield. The obvious examples are here and Silverstone that have been successful doing it. But yeah, I think obviously for Sebring, the bumps add to it. It's an extra level, an extra layer of challenge to the track. So yeah, I think it's good to have here.
Yeah, it sure is. And we have Sinister77 in chat saying that he is going to be a no-show, unfortunately. He appreciates the love. He's supposed to be somewhere, didn't practice, now it's a little late to join, but you know what? You only live once, and he's back in the game, and he's going to be joining the race, apparently.
Yeah, we got a double header. You can use the first race as practice.
Exactly. There's no excuse here at Plebian Racing. We want to see a full grid no matter where you end up, so go ahead, and as long as you've got the registration filled already, get your butt in a TT Cup car, as we see. I think that's Jordan White in the background, getting a little dusty there with his brake pads. Get up a little bit of smoke.
It's interesting we haven't quite seen a 13 yet. Surprising. I think I would have thought at least one or two of these guys would be capable, but we might be struggling with track limits, maybe invalidating some of these fast laps. But currently we've got Huelsman on pole.
We sure
very,
do.
Very close at the top.
I mean, unbelievably close. And I just realized who Sinister 77 was. That was my boy Pezzelato I was raving about earlier. So that's why he was saying all that. I just put two and two together when I saw him join the server. But yeah,
So I guess the shout out convinced him to race tonight then, huh?
I guess so. Forced his hand. Forced his hand where he didn't want to go, but he's here with us now. Huelsman on pole with a 14.5 and Jaworski with a 14.57. Penguin with a 14.58. Moss with a 14.697 will not be setting another lap. Who's still out there and able to go faster? Ozzy Wilson. Will he get one more done? The checkered flag is out, so whoever's on a lap has to get it done. Now, is Pasha Patterson gonna be holding him up, or is he on a fast enough lap himself to keep ahead of Ozzy Wilson? Ozzy Wilson's gonna be super respectful here and make sure he gives Pasha Patterson the opportunity to finish that lap. But the second he sees him step out of bounds as Pasha goes fastest through sector 1. My goodness. He might be onto something. Can he carry it through sector 2? We talked about Pasha earlier in the day, privately between you and me. We were wondering what kind of race he was going to have here. Thought he was going to end up in the midfield, but maybe he'll tiptoe towards the front and really get a chance at a podium opportunity here. If the luck goes his way, he's still pushing hard, but did go off track a little bit, and that's going to hurt his speed through this back sector. But can he get it collected for this back straight? Seems to be doing good and keeping it on track, setting himself up for this very tricky right-hander, trying not to go too wide and into the dirt. He's not doing it, but Ozzy Wilson is gaining a ton of speed now.
Yeah, it looks like that lap's gone for Pasha. His middle sector is 1.5 seconds off the pace, so see if he finishes the lap and see what it ends up being. And I think Conrad Jaworski is just about to finish the lap, so we'll see what he ends up with.
Conrad Jaworski leapfrogs Huelsman into first place. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but you're right. He absolutely did it, and Ozzy Wilson was not able to get one more done as Pasha abandons that lap. Is Joseph Ciao still on one? Looks like he may have been able to cross the line, and look who shows up. It's James Leeder.
Oh, really? James just joined the server?
James Leeder joining the server. We'll be starting from last place.
Punctual as always. You know, doing everything he can, obviously, to fight for that win against Penguin.
Doing everything he can to fight for that win. Obviously, put no practice in before this moment, I can probably say, guaranteeing that. And I just want to remind everybody watching this that there is a reverse grid for race 2. So whatever progress he makes in the first race, he will undo all of that progress for race 2, if that makes any sense the way I've explained it. This is going to be interesting if James Leeder wants to give a run at P3, or excuse me, at the championship.
So James is 20 points behind Penguin right now, is that correct?
96 to 79, so less than 20. 17?
Okay. But it's 10 points for a win, right? So if James has any hope of winning this championship, Penguin's got to have a couple of bad races.
Exactly. Penguin's got to get taken out. I feel like there might be a bounty on Penguin's head right now. Sent out by James Leeder, a target on his back to say the least, as James Leeder's going to be starting from the back of the field as he looks around in his pit box, trying to get his, I think his orientation of where he might be. Luke, is there anything else we are missing here that we need to talk about? We've already looked at the championship points. We've talked about the track surface being bumpy. What else are we going to be watching out for here? Passing opportunities being tricky, maybe?
Yeah, I guess the push to pass use, there'll be a lot more frequent use in these short races, probably once a lap even. We're only going to get, or maybe more than once a lap actually. We're only going to get the race is 30 minutes, so we'll get about 15 laps or less than 15 laps each race, and they've got 15 push to pass pushes, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who uses what where. The obvious choices are probably, so there are a couple of choices: the pit straight, the straight out the back that leads into the hairpin, and then also the straight that leads into the final corner would be my choices. But yeah, there's always a bit of strategy with the push to pass, so it'll be interesting to see. The other thing I would be looking out for, especially on the first few laps, is people getting a bit sideways through the first and last corner.
Oh yeah.
The bumps and the braking for these corners are very difficult, and if you're a bit sloppy with the braking or you come in a bit too hot, it's really easy to lose the rear and go into a massive slide. There's a potential for causing an incident doing that, so we'll be looking out for that in the first few laps, and hopefully no one ends up getting hit by anyone else too badly. So we'll see.
Unfortunately, these cars are going to be bouncing up and down, gyrating through the first and last corner, and that is going to cause some unfortunate accidents. And you guys know how much I hate using that phrase, but I think that's what it's going to be chalked up to. Just a little bit of bouncing unexpectedly is going to throw people off balance and into a wall. And even more dangerously, if you're trying to go side by side or trying to go for some sort of move, it's going to be almost impossible to guarantee safety trying to make a move at either of those. Hopefully some of these guys are going to be more cautious than they have been in the past and understand the risks associated as the grid is getting set, and we are almost underway. Race 1 here.
Yes, I have the auto start enabled, so I'm in the pits.
Fantastic. Just wanted to make sure we were all squared away. Live timing is up. We are tracking the grid.
So I guess while we've got a minute here, maybe we should run through the actual starting positions.
We sure can. As it's all jumbled up for me. We're going to have Comrade Jaworski next to Evan Huelsman in P1 and P2. Penguin in P3 with Kurt Moss in P4. Ozzie Wilson in 5 next to Kevin Ospina in 6th place. Dave Martin holding down 7th in front of Joseph Ciao, who's going to be doing his best to try to stay ahead of everybody behind, like Jordan White. Securing some points next to Pasha Patterson in 9th. Andy Santiago playing on a controller night in 10th place. Brett Zumina throwing it up in 11th place. Jordan White not doing as well as he should have, sitting back in 12th, as I said earlier, trying to secure some points and hold on to his championship standings. Smoking 13th, 14th for Nico here, and Curtis Gregory in 15th, and that'll be Adrian Pezzelato, James Leeder, and Casey Soul starting from the back. We've got Mike TT from Pro Sim Racing in the chat. What's going on, Mike TTC? Is the lights are on. We're about to get this race underway. This is going to be it. 30 minutes of excitement. Conrad Jaworski next to Huelsman as they go off into the afternoon here in Florida, side by side. A little bit of moving along the straight, trying to return to the optimal line. Comrade Jaworski and Huelsman not giving each other much room, tucking in single file now. Let's see what's happening through the midfield. We talked about the side-by-side action through turn 1. Looks like everybody's making it through somewhat safely as we approach turn 2 and 3. Side by side, Ozzie Wilson gets a little bump in the rough from, looks like Kurt Moss, but everything is going according to plan as Kurt Moss goes wide and gets a little sideways drift through 4, it looks like, but getting back on track, only loses out a couple of places. Not too much to talk about there right now as he trickles back towards 9th place. Oh, as Kurt Moss goes towards the inside, up through the S's, that's Martin, and who is that? Joseph Ciao side by side in the thick thigh save lives livery, going up through this section and towards the hairpin. This is gonna be tight. Joseph on the inside, holds onto the brake, is super respectful to Dave Martin going around the outside. They're leaving just enough room between the two of them. That position being swapped swapped back and forth. Joseph Ciao on the push to pass, trying to get ahead on the inside line, is able to get that secured, but Dave Martin super late on the brakes, hangs it around the outside, gets that axle just alongside. Oh no! As there's death as Kevin Ospina glitches out and destroys a couple cars in the process as these two still go side by side. Wow, Joseph Ciao getting a little sideways, touching the rear from Martin, but able to keep it collected, but gives it back, carrying a ton of speed to Martin through the next corner, and that's murder she wrote. Unfortunately, Dave Martin getting the blunt end of that stick, but Joseph able to go off, continuing there. Must have just missed the brake marker. A little bit too much speed there from the early contact with Dave, probably is what happened, as Casey goes side by side, getting boxed in with Anthony Santiago and the Smoke Man. Super locked in here. That's Brett Zumina up ahead, keeping us all. Oh my goodness, as Jordan White gets touched in the rear from that's Santiago, the person we were just talking about just a second ago. Brett Zumina getting collected in that a little bit and loses out at least 2 positions here out on the start. Holy Toledo!
Yeah, chaotic first lap.
I
We've
have
also
not...
got a 3-way battle for second, third, and fourth going on up ahead too, which is also pretty close right now.
Let's jump ahead and see what these guys are up to for second, third, and fourth. Huelsman, Penguin, and Ozzie Wilson all staying within touching distance between the 3 of these guys and able to keep their cars mostly clean, but Ozzie Wilson obviously has some hood damage. I can see it from here. That bonnet flapping in the wind, as they'd like to say in other parts of the world. That's not going to help his cause at all.
So yeah, it looks like we've got a big gap forming in between the end of P4 and then there's a big train behind P5. And I guess that's where most of the action's going to be right now.
And there's Pezzelato falling back down the order, I think. Oh, yep, there's Pezzelato. Okay, down in 9th place now. Is jumbling all over the place. He's doing well for himself coming up from last as James Leeder makes a late move on the inside, but Pezzelato reclaims the apex there. Not shutting the door, but returning to the racing line as they threaten Brett Zumina and Joseph Ciao, who are both facing significant damage from the earlier incidences they faced. Let's see if Soul and Smoke can close down the gap to up ahead as Zumina loses out a little bit more to Pezzelato. That damage obviously slowing him down more than he'd like to admit right now.
So we've got James Leeder already up to 10th, so that's a 8 position gain for him, I guess. Or I guess he wasn't right at the back because a few people joined after him, but looks like he's managed to keep his nose clean mostly. We'll see how far he can get ahead.
James Leeder on Zumina. Looks like he's gonna make this happen right here, right now. Not gonna be any more patient with this. On the inside, I can see it on the right side of my screen. There he is. Coming across the front of Brett Zumina. You can see the damage on his windscreen. Can he get through Sunset safely? James Leeder locking up the brakes a little bit. Brett on the outside. Holy Toledo, gets it collected. James Leader's off, and who's that on the inside? That looks like Kurt Moss trying to run away with it. There's Kurt Moss. Jaworski with the fastest lap as we saw it flash on the screen for just a moment. What is Joseph Ciao able to do up ahead in 8th place? Is he still able to cling on? And other question I have is whatever happened to Dave Martin? Has he been able to recover from that earlier incident he has? As James makes a look at Joseph Ciao but doesn't act on it.
Yeah, Dave's back in 14th now, so a bit of a bad start for him. Guessing he'll be looking to make his way up through the field and maybe catch up to Joseph Ciao and give him a bit of a taste of his own medicine.
We'll see as that went back and forth, as Pezzolato's obviously pushing a little bit harder than he thought he was tonight. He expected to sit on the couch and watch from the comfort of relaxation mode as he locks up and gets a little squirrely on that early turn. And we talked about that awkward right-hander, as well as Joseph Ciao makes a look at Pezzelato. I'm going to call the rookie of the track because we haven't seen him for practice or qualifying until the race was about to get underway. Looks like he might just be making a few more mistakes than some of the guys around. He typically has more pace as Joseph Ciao tries to go to the inside of the penultimate turn and is threatening that position, but can't quite hold on to it. And James Leeder isn't going to be more patient than he is right now, as he sees a lot of time being wasted in front of him and a lot of gaps being opened up ahead. James Leeder, oh my goodness, being super patient, but not giving Pezzelato a chance to close back open as he almost gets thrown into the tire barrier. As that's Kurt too. No, that's Smoke. Yes, that was Kurt, excuse me. Going next to James Leeder, this four-way battle rages on the front straight. Pezzelato still on the outside. Kurt Moss right in head, under threat from James Leeder still. Side by side, James Leeder thrown to the back of the four-way pack. Kurt Moss might have a better chance at Joseph Ciao as his nose gets chopped off as Joseph returns to the racing line. Not quite enough room there to be obligated to that racing line.
While these guys are battling, one of the fan favorites, the Smoke Man, is quietly driving away from them. So this is a really good start of the race for him. He's in 6th place.
Fan, oh fan, I am of the Smoke Man indeed. And I'm glad to see him have a good result so far. Let's see that continue on. Jordan White down in 17th place as my map gets all sorts of discombobulated. I apologize. Let's see if we can get this back in order as we go back to Seoul. As we see Smoke, your man, getting overtaken by, who is that in front?
That's
Andy Santiago in 18th place.
Yeah,
Coming
so he must have had some issues early on. He's lapped down at this point.
Andy Santiago unlapping himself a little forcefully through Smoke. Smoke allowing that to happen for now, but we know him. He will want that position back, or that track real estate back, if he feels like he's being held up. Joseph Ciao being a good cork in the bottle for him, as you said earlier, keeping that pack behind, but now Andy might be holding Smoke up and threatening his chances as he dives out of the way. Obviously just a mistake from earlier as he lets the whole group by, but that's not going to make up for the time that Smoke Man lost. This is going to hurt his chances for sure. I feel like, Luke, you gave him the commentator's curse.
Yeah, maybe unintentionally. I don't really know how to avoid that. I guess we just don't talk about anyone.
We just don't talk about anyone, as we saw Smoke drift a little sideways through Sunset and get compromised. And now Joseph Ciao checked up a little bit, and Pezzelato is looking to reclaim his track position. 15 for him, about a half-second faster than Joseph Ciao, who's still incurring some damage from that earlier contact that he had with Dave Martin. Oh my goodness, and who is that in front? That is Smoke getting threatened from Pezzelato now as he goes over the curb and now into the dirt, and he's gonna have a hard time rejoining the track with 4 cars battling for position right behind him. It's gonna be hard pressed to defend any of those around this carousel. Well, these guys carry their full racing speed as James Leeder even makes his way through as Joseph Ciao misses the brake marker, goes completely across the turn and has to bail out to the runoff and loses out from first to last of this 4-way battle right now. He was leading and now he's trailing just ahead of Brett Zumino, who's a wounded bird right behind him.
Yeah, Joseph Ciao having a bit of a shocker at the moment. I think he needs to maybe take a breath and regain his thoughts and hopefully keep it a little bit cleaner for the rest of the race.
Maybe as Pezzelato goes side by side with Kurt Moss. Oh my goodness, rejoins the racing line right in front of Pezzelato, causing him to check up significantly. I stumbled over my words even as I saw that happen. Was not expecting that to go down. Neither was Pezzelato as he locked up the brakes. Moving on from that, Pezzelato is going to want to respond quickly and swiftly, as there's only 18 minutes left in this race, and he's being threatened by James Leeder and Smoke, who have nearly pretty clean cars so far. Everybody, look at all these unique lines through Sunset as we see Smoke go a little bit wider than most everybody else's. He is going to lose out of position now to Joseph Ciao, but he looks like he's carrying a little bit more speed, especially with that push to pass around the outside. Probably going to want to snap back at Ciao, and he's second now. Can Ciao hold on to the inside line? Turns it a little bit too early, has to back out of turn 1. And gives it back up to Smoke as they approach turn 2. On their way through 3 and 4, little flicking back and forth here. They go through Big Bend. Nobody really on the push to pass through this section. As you said, everybody should be able to press it about once or more every lap. Looks like Soul's the only one that's been on it for the most part. On the cooldown right now, Zumina's trying to keep up with Ciao. His ears must be burning, as I was just talking about. The push to pass is being used as Ciao goes wide and into the dirt through the hairpin, as he is now under threat through from Zumina as they go through Fangio. And Brett, even with all that damage, might be able to get it done, but can't. Oh, excuse me. As I was going to say, is running out of real estate around the outside, carries the speed through and carries his way to the racing line in front. But now he's off into the dirt, trying to crisscross applesauce. Joseph Ciao ain't having none of that as he's on the optimal line and gets through Cunningham safely. On their way through Kohler, 11, 12, and 13 towards the tower right-hander. That'll be the one after this big left-hander. Almost 90-degree turn here.
Looks like Penguin's mounting an attack for Huelsman. He's steadily decreasing that gap, and he's right on his bumper now, with Huelsman already used a lot of his push to pass buttons compared to Penguin, so I think we'll be seeing a pass sometime soon.
There it is. That gap has come down to only about a 10th right now as Penguin checks up and goes to the inside. At least has a look, and Huelsman gives him plenty of room as he goes over the curb, not comfortable with that racing line. As they approach Big Bend now. Coming way around as Smoke and Ciao swap back positions again for 9th and 10th as we stay on board with the Penguin-Huelsman battle. Side by side towards the hairpin, Penguin leaving a ton of room for him on the inside. And Huelsman will carry it through Fangio.
Let's go on board with Penguin and get an idea of what he's seeing right now.
Absolutely, why not? On board with Penguin now, getting a look at what he's got going on. Hey, let's get over to the driver's seat, get an in-depth view. How is he managing the bumps and going off into the dirt a little bit? These guys are pushing as hard as they can, the both of them. Last round, Huelsman with a 15-1, Penguin with a 15-3. The best out of these, 14-8 and 14-9. So these guys are very, very, very equally matched. And look at the fog. It's coming in. Visibility might be playing a significant role in this race as they both send it through Sunset. Penguin being super tentative on the brake. So patient there on the throttle. Keeping it pressed as Penguin throws up a 16.7. Nearly a second slower than Huelsman, that gap widening just a hair. As you said earlier, their consistency through turn 1 and through sunset will determine how well these guys do over this 30-minute race, as we have Ciao and Smoke going at it. Joseph Ciao must be having a big moment. He did not heed your warning, Luke. Dives into the pits, and that might be a retirement from him.
Yeah, it looks like the Smoke Man was caught up in that too. Not sure what happened there, but he's going slow along the pit straight now. Just trying to recover from the last corner.
It looked like he was battling with Curtis Gregory for just a moment, but quite unsure of what happened for sure. Might be something we get to in the replay. Still watching this Penguin-Huelsman battle. This might just keep raging on for the next 13 minutes of this race. Penguin is being a little bit more leisurely with his push to passes. I see him just pressing it pretty much whenever he's got it available. Huelsman being a little bit more cautious with his deployment of it, I think. Trying to use it only on the straights where it'll make up the most amount of time.
Yeah, Penguin's been saving them up. So I think he's going to be looking to use a bunch of them in the last few laps of the race to get his move done. And I guess Huelsman's just been using him to keep in front of Penguin. But yeah, as we can see now, Penguin's starting to use the push to pass for the straight.
Absolute dives out of the way on the back straight as they head towards sunset. Penguin leading by a car length. Huelsman super late on the brakes, trying to go around the outside as Penguin drifts that rear end out. Got to stay on the brakes a little bit more than he wanted to, and Huelsman's there on the inside, forcing Penguin off a little bit of his rhythm. Huelsman nose to tail with Penguin now, inverse positions of where we were just a moment ago. Huelsman makes a break towards the inside. Can he stick it? Now he's a little sideways through turn 1, forcing Penguin a little bit wide again this time. Goes off towards the grass, trying to make sure he doesn't drift into him. Holds on, single file now. Huelsman backs out of that. Couldn't quite get it collected in time, it looked like.
Yeah, this is great racing. It's good to see some clean moves, and we've got a few back and forths going on here, so it's a really good track for racing, I think, and all these bumps are going to make it difficult to maintain any sort of lead you have against someone who's similar paced.
Absolutely. Like you said, I think that was one of my favorite moves, and then reactionary, not defends, but try to retaliate against someone back immediately, not kind of waiting a lap or two to make that retaliation happen. We're going to snap towards Pezzelato as I think he's going to try to make a move on Kurt Moss shortly.
Yeah, it looks like both Kurt and Pezzelato have caught C-Sol. Can't remember what C-Sol's first name is.
Curtis?
Yeah, we got a three-way battle. Casey,
yeah, thank you.
Casey Sol, so we got a three-way battle for 5th place here. And if these guys aren't careful, they start battling a bit too much. James Leeder's only 1.5 seconds behind the end of this.
James Leeder, when are you going to give it a break, man? Making his way cautiously through the field. Wasn't 10th just a little bit while ago. Oh my God, Kurt Moss tries to make a move around the outside. And he hold on. He's going to try to make it done. Goes over the curb, and oh my God, how does he make that stick? Over the bumps and the rumps and all the tar snakes, makes it through the penultimate corner.
Yeah, it looks like Pezzelato is going to try and capitalize on Sol being offline too. I think he's going for a run with the push to pass here.
Through Le Mans, Pezzelato makes a move on Sol, has a wheel along the inside, late on the brakes as Sol tries to cut him off. A little bit of contact through sunset. That's not going to help Sol's cause out as they try to defend, excuse me, through sunset. We talked about the side-by-side, and if that was a possibility, I think we got our answer as Casey just got bumped a little bit there as that side-by-side got a little bumpy. And Mike with the compliments for the stream. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the love and support we get here.
Yeah, all I've got to say to Mike about his comments on the stream is that he seems to talk a lot of shit for someone being in dipod range.
Aha.
He better watch himself for the GT4 League. I imagine they're going to be people out there gunning for him.
And speaking of which, we do have GT4 ACC racing coming up this Tuesday. We're going to have a new host on the stream, a new broadcaster, a whole new setup. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be very unique. We have a lot of things going on, live stewarding, safety cars, the whole kit and caboodle with a broadcast to boot. We've got 27 people signed up right now. I think it's going to be a hoot. Make sure you look at our socials down in the description below to get these sign up links going ahead. Trying to get a look at Pezzelato, as this is another person that's made his way from the back of the field, trying to make his way up to the front to be with his buddy Huelsman, who's putting on a great fight to Penguin, but that gap has widened up to 2.2 seconds. Maybe Huelsman's going to try to back up the field to get next to Pezzelato so they could rejoin their battle for race 2 as Pezzelato pushes real hard, locking up the brakes through Sunset, trying to trail brake as best as he can, but hitting that bump and locking up that wheel as it was midair. Moss with a 14.4, Pezzelato with a 14.290. That gap's going to come down. 7 minutes remaining here at Sebring International Raceway. And this is the finale here for the Audi TT Cup race, and I'm afraid for James Leeder right now, it doesn't look like he's going to have the pace or the luck to make up the points he needs to try to stay ahead of Penguin. To get ahead of Penguin.
Yeah, like we said, Penguin has that, what was it, 17-point lead?
Yep, 17 points.
So,
Pezzelato around the outside and onto the dirt through the hairpin. Gets turned around completely. Holy Toledo. Just trying to go for a standard move on Kurt Moss and just dipped a wheel into the grass and got spun around. That was a sick 360. But he's going to lose out on a couple places, and all that progress he's made will be undone, as James Leeder is now going to be giving it up to Casey Soul. Fangio. Sorry, Luke, didn't mean to interrupt you as that went down.
I can't remember what I was going to say, but anyway, it's unfortunate for Pezzelato. He was having a good race, but luckily he didn't lose too much. His 360 ended up just putting him on another section of the track that's not used, so he was able to recover pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. A good recovery there, as James Leeder, who was in the same boat of his recovery drive from the back to the front, goes a little wide there and still trying to make that move stick on Casey Soul. I wonder if James Leeder is going to give us his signature 5-minute overtake here, so there's only 5 minutes remaining. Oh, he will not give us the signature 5-minute overtake. He's going to get it done the first time he's given the opportunity. Gets the move done around Casey the first time on the back straight. Well and clear this time on the cooldown for the push to pass. We had a little bit of help there from the extra horses in the boot.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of maybe limiting your push to pass use at the start of the race, because James currently has double the amount of push to pass than Sol, so I imagine he'll be able to keep this lead now that he's made the move.
Yeah, 100% double over Sol, and quite frankly quadruple over Moss ahead. So if this goes sideways for Moss over the next 2 laps, he could be getting thrown a James Leeder towards him. James Leeder, could you imagine if he ended up with a 5th place finish starting from last place? Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, it's not unheard of for him. The other thing too, like he's got a lot more push to passes left than everyone else, except for Jaworski out in front.
Kurt
but at
Moss
the
and
same
Ozzy
time-
Wilson. Oh my goodness, sorry about that. I thought he was going for the same move that was almost done to him by Pezzelato, but go ahead at the same time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say at the same time, James is saving his push to passes for the end of the race, and because he showed up with no practice, the end of the race is always when he's at his fastest.
That's
so
true.
You might see him pull this gap down at the last couple of minutes of this race.
And especially as Kurt Moss got the move done on Ozzy Wilson, that's going to slow them both down, and Ozzy Wilson is quite wounded, and he's limping his way to the finish line right now. He was sitting in third place, but that damage just slowing him down a little bit more than he needed it to be. He's been fighting for as long as he could, but the pace just isn't quite there yet, and he's been trying to use as much of that push to pass as he can to defend as best as possible. But like we said, the arrow not there, and that's Moss getting a little sideways, checking up Ozzy and going back towards Leeder again. 2.5 is the gap back as this battle rages on for fourth and fifth.
Yeah, we've got Penguin in second and Huelsman in third. They were pretty close before, but that gap's sort of spread out. I think I just saw Penguin hit a 13.9, so that's really good pace for the race, but not quite good enough to keep in touch with Conrad Jaworski out in front, who I think's been setting a lot of 13s throughout the race.
13.8 for Jaworski up in first place, and that was a 13.9 from Penguin just that last lap around, so you're right about that. Flash before our eyes. Ozzy Wilson, can he do anything to stick it back to Kurt Moss? I don't think so. This might be the last lap. No, I think we're going to get one more after this one. So this one plus one more, as guys are facing lap traffic right now. So this might become a big deal, as that's Joseph Ciao just ahead of these two fighters.
Yeah, unfortunately, Joe's race has gone from bad to worse, and now he's finding himself getting caught by drivers lapping him. So I'm sure he'll do the right thing and make it easy for them to pass him, or if he's quick enough, he might just stay out in front.
Hopefully so, and it will be a little awkward because this gap between these three cars. Oh, as Sol and Pezzelato side by side up ahead. As they approach Fangio, as Sol goes a little wide and onto the curb. Driftamo on their way through, but gets it collected. Holy smokes. I wasn't sure they were going to be able to hold on to it as they approach Cunningham. Casey Sol gripping on for dear life. Nose to tail right now. Not anymore as Sol makes a move on the inside. Through the double right-hander and on their way to Tower. Holy Toledo holding on through Bishop now. Turn 15. Nobody's touching the dirt. They're through Le Mans now. Casey falling back in 8th place. Is that any more push to passes remaining? Casey's got it pressed. Approaching the cooldown limit now. Pezzolato's done. Won't be able to defend anymore, especially with that lockup through Sunset. He's going to be compromised into turn 1. Let's get on board with Casey to see what they're looking at here in the final couple of minutes.
So yeah, we've got a couple of these cars that are close to each other where the car in front is out of push to pass and the car behind still has some remaining. So
that's Dave Martin.
Casey, Sol, and Pezzelato. And then same up ahead with Ozzy Wilson and Kurt Moss. Ozzy's still got 2 push to pass, so he might be, I'm going to guess that he's going to try and use those on the straights to make this pass happen against Kurt Moss.
Yeah, Ozzy's got to know that this is the last lap. He should be on the push to pass a little bit more diligently than he is now. Maybe he knows something that I'm not aware of. James Leeder on the cooldown did get it done through this section after Big Bend as Pezzelato and Sol still side by side. This is a repeat of what we saw earlier. On the inside though, Pezzelato gets it gripped up and holds on to it through Fangio now. Side by side still. I want to keep an eye on the gap up ahead. What is Wilson up to? Crossing over, leaving enough room for Casey on the outside, but turns it a little too soon, and off they go. Pezzelato driving off after that contact. Joseph Ciao diving out of the way. That's Moss, Aussie, and Leeder all getting through now. On their way to Tower. Through Bishop now. On their way to Le Mans. On their way onto the backstretch. Aussie Wilson onto the dirt. That's not going to help the cause. Let's see if he's gaining at all. James Leeder's on the push to pass, but can't close down that gap, I don't think. Let's see what Aussie Wilson sees. Is he going to send it through 17? Trying his best. Kurt Moss holds on ahead, just barely though, after he gets sideways. Holy smokes, as he does a little weaving to show his appreciation for the heated battle these two faced. I don't think there's anybody else that's still close on the field right now, so we're going to do a little shakedown on the standings once we are able to catch our breath. Woo! Dave Martin through final quarter in 9th place, holding on in front of Brett Sumina. Is there anybody you want to grab a hold of and throw them into the booth, Luke, before we go over the rundown?
Pezzelato might be good if he's available.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, we got Adrian Pezzelato in the booth. How's it going?
Good, man. Good.
Let me just do a little rundown real quick and we'll get to you. Comrade Jaworski in P1, Penguin in P2, Evan Huelsman in P3, Kurt Moss we saw battling with Aussie Wilson, that's 4 and 5. James Leeder from the back in 6th place. Pezzelato, who's in the booth with us now, started from last also. Somehow these guys managed to end up in 6th and 7th. We've got Casey Saul in 8th, new to the championship tonight. Dave Martin with a recovery drive back into 9th after that early incident with Joseph Ciao, who ended up in 17th. Brett Zumina in 10, Curtis Gregory in 11th, Smoke in 12, Patterson in 13, Nico in 14, Jordan White in 15, Kevin Ospina in 16th. Like I said, Joseph Ciao in 17, and Santiago in 18th. Pezzelato, how did your race go?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think I went from like P17 to like P5 in the first lap. And then when I was leading that whole group, because like P1 to 4 kind of drove off into the distance, I realized I didn't know the track at all because I had zero practice. So I fucking blew the braking zone into the hairpin there, and then I had to fight my way back up to P6-ish. And then Kurt and I were fighting, and like, I don't know what happened. I feel like I don't want to jump the gun here, but I feel like he squeezed me a little bit onto the grass, and I spun. But yeah, I managed to scrape back and get in front of Casey again there at the end. But that was a hectic practice session. Let's call it that.
Yeah, hectic to say the least. I'm not sure what you saw on board, and we didn't exactly have a good look at what happened between you and Moss. But yeah, all we saw was a little dip of a wheel into that set of course of grass, and around you go, showing us your drift skills, and a 360 onto the runoff, and back onto the track you went, only losing out a couple positions, and just tucked in right behind Casey, and then fought Casey tooth and nail to the end.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was on hard tires until the end there, because definitely the left front tends to cook. It was great like in the first half of the stint, but right at the end, it tends to cook, and the last corner is an absolute nightmare. So you have to like kind of take an early apex and straighten out the exit. But maybe hards is the way to go.
Yeah, I think the hards are the way to go. The car's a bit strange. Even like the hards feel a little bit slipperier, but when you actually get used to it, at least in the testing that I've done through a few of the different rounds, there's really no pace difference in the two tires. But the hards just last so much longer. So yeah, maybe try out the hards for the next race and see how you go. You might end up even further up the field.
Honestly, I don't want to change too many variables with the like lack of practice that I've had.
Nah, come on. You showed up with no practice. Surely a tire change won't worry you.
Nah, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it on the mediums because it seemed to work out pretty well. Yeah, now it's basically the same thing I just did. Because I'm like, what, P8, 7 or whatever? I don't know. I didn't see.
Yeah, that is true. We have the reverse grid now, so some of these guys that maybe didn't have a race that they hoped they would have get a second chance. I know Joseph Ciao is starting for P2. He's going to be looking to drive off into the distance if he can.
Definitely, he's going to be looking to make up for lost points from race 1. So mind your mirrors here and be a little bit more patient than you'd expect. I think people are still fighting for bragging rights in the championship standings. Whether they're going to be drinking champagne or not is another thing.
I would definitely put money on Joseph to pull out a win here at the end.
I might. I wish we had more time.
Oh, actually, Kevin Ospina.
I know, right? There's so many fast people up ahead that could get a lucky break here and just break away from the rest of the field.
I know my main competition is my main competition is Ospina and Patterson, and they're both in front of me. So I gotta get up there with them. Hopefully not too late.
Speaking of getting back to it, I think the race is about to start. I should dump you back into the race chat, huh?
Yeah, that's about 27 seconds. We got time.
Alrighty. Well, Pezzelato, thank you so much, and take care, and good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you.
Right on. That was a good call about Pezzelato. I think he definitely was the driver of the hecticness, we should say.
Yeah, I think he did a great job coming in with no practice and getting to where he did. So let's see the start of this next race.
Taking a look, everybody's getting away now. Ciao and White and Soul are all on the push to pass from the breakaway. You know, they've got a little bit up something up their sleeve as someone's getting collected in the back. It might have been Pezzelato. Oh no, as we've got Kevin Ospina glitching out again, and he's off into turn 1. Joseph Ciao getting sideways with Santiago, and he's off again. His race not going well. 2 for 2, unfortunately.
Yeah, a bit of a nightmare night for Joseph there, and we just got Patterson off the track there as well.
That's Patterson off, and James Leeder having something going on. Oh my God, Brett Zumina clips the tire barrier and goes sideways, and that's, oh, who was that? Was that Jaworski getting collected and all that? Possibly. Towards the back of the field as they go 3 wide towards the hairpin. This isn't going to work out for Kurt Moss, or is it? It will. Kurt Moss just ahead behind Penguin and ahead of Pezzelato and Jaworski. Jaworski's trying to be super patient here. We've got a change for P3 and 4. Martin and Nico going side by side on their way up the hill. Well, not much of a hill, excuse me.
On their way up the flat.
On their way up the flat as I try to pull out a track map to get you a track name that doesn't exist. And Martin just ahead in P3. We talked about people trying to cling on for points here. Penguin gets inverted towards 13th place now. Curtis Gregory losing out on a couple himself. Nico losing out. Smoke losing out now. Going at it with Kurt Moss. No, that's Nico side by side. Martin side by side with Casey Soul being super respectful. Casey holding on to 3rd place before the back straight. A little bit more tame than last race, but maybe not by much, as James Leeder is going to go to the inside of Smoke, who's blocking off Nico's efforts right now on the backside as Nico goes super deep through Sunset, and that's Smoke trying to go for a nasty switchback, but gets collected by Ozzy Wilson, I think, and that's a bowling alley if I've ever seen one. The bounces there in the track, just collecting him, I think.
Yeah, luckily for Conrad Jaworski, he just missed that incident and got through clean. So his race is still on. He's up to 7th.
Oh, and Jaworski up to 7th. That's a lot of track positions that he's made up swiftly as Pezzelato's leapfrogged his way to 10th place right now. Andy Santiago right now in first place, 1.1 seconds ahead of Jordan White. Oh, James Leeder, 2/10 back from Dave Martin. You know this is going to be spicy as they go around the carousel towards the hairpin. James Leeder around the outside, rear to front right now. James Leeder ahead, but you know he's going to leave the room for Dave Martin just in case. Dave onto the curb, being super respectful there, but gets the racing line yanked away from him by James Leeder.
Like we've had a few DNFs this race, so I guess kind of expected at the last round. If you get in an incident, maybe don't want to spend 26 minutes driving around with a damaged car. I guess a few people are going to go have a beer and do something more productive with their night.
Maybe they'll come join us here on stream and watch how we get down in the commentary booth as Penguin is only 2/10 back from Nico. These races are still on, as Penguin has to check up on Nico, who's going a little bit slower than expected on their way to the on their way to the penultimate turn. Onto the straight here. Penguin's on the push to pass. Nico not yet, but this curse train is upon us. Pezzelato's there on the inside, 3 wide on the back straight. Let's see if they're going to hang on to this situation. No, Nico promptly backs out of that and says, "Oh, hell no, sir." Oh, but quickly gets back into it as Penguin returns to the line, almost clips and does clip the tire barrier. Somehow keeps it on, but has a lot of damage now, and Pezzelato's through on the both of them. 14's out from a lot of the front runners, Casey, James, and White, it looked like, as there's still more contact going on as that's Nico bumped in the rump and off through turn 1. Penguin getting through, now facing Pezzelato's derriere. Ciao and Huelsman getting position swapped out as Ciao lost it through turn 1, it looked like. All right, Jaworski up to 6th place now.
Yeah, it looks like he's had a pretty clean run along with James Leeder through the field. We've got Santiago out in front. If I recall correctly, I believe he's away from his rig right now. So he's probably playing on a controller and possibly a laptop. If that's the case, he's doing an excellent job.
Santiago, I know he's on a controller for sure. I didn't know about the laptop situation as Penguin is threatening Pezzelato still. But man, he's commanding that lead. Was 1 second before, now up to 2.2 on Jordan White. Wow, that is impressive to not only get the lead, but keep it. I might explain that side-to-side contact through T2, though.
Yeah, I remember starting with the Seto Corsa back when I started sim racing. I also started on a controller, and it's extremely difficult. There's such a limited amount of movement with the thumbstick to control the steering and then the throttle and everything. Everything's just a lot more sensitive and really hard to be consistent and smooth with your inputs.
There's got to be the whole aspect of the lack of feel too, the lack of knowing what the car is doing beneath you. I feel like the wheel is a little bit more feedback than just the vibrating sensors can give you in an Xbox controller.
Yeah, that would be a big part of it for sure. Looks like Kurt Moss is making an attack on Conrad Jaworski. If he's using up some of his push to passes to try to get past Conrad early.
And just as he said that, Kurt Moss with the fastest lap at 2:14.519. That's faster than even the guys ahead, but Jaworski's got to be giving him some slipstream of assistance. James Leeder also only 3/10 back from Casey at times as Huelsman and Ciao are still going at it. Joseph having an inverse race again as he got tossed around through turn 2 and over the curb he goes as he tries to battle Huelsman and keep on to some of this race. Keep hold of some of this race. Oh my goodness. You'd think I had a cup of coffee before this. James Leeder still tiptoeing around that half a second mark. He made the move stick on Casey earlier around the last corner and onto the straight. I wonder if this is where we're going to see the 20-minute overtake classic move take place. And you know, Penguin's down in 9th place. I know it's not the dead last we needed him to be in, but is there a possibility if Leeder wins this to threaten Penguin's chance at winning this race or winning the championship?
I think Penguin got a P2 in the first race, right?
Oh, okay,
So
yeah. So yeah,
I doubt it. I think
doors
he's probably
shut.
got it. Yeah, he's got it locked in at this point, but we'll see how the points play out at the end.
Curious to see as Huelsman and Ciao are still going at it side by side. Huelsman returning to the racing line kind of awkwardly in front of Ciao. There must be more to that story than we saw. Nico goes off and lets the two of those fighting bulls by. Pezzelato and Penguin 1/10 separating them into Sunset. Pezzelato late on the brakes, trying to follow Penguin's line through Sunset, bouncing that car and bottoming out all over the place as White and Soul are battling out too.
Yeah, it looks like James Leeder's going to get involved in this.
Woo! Jordan White on the inside gives Soul a little bump wide and can't return to the track right away. Like you said, James Leeder on the inside now. Can he hold on through turn 3? I think it's done. Not quite. Still side by side. Jordan White gets bumped in the rump by, I don't know who was that, if that was Jaworski or Soul, but that's the end of that battle for him as he disconnects from the server. James Leeder in P2, Soul in 3rd, Jaworski in 4th. This keeps on raging. Soul on the inside of Jaworski. Can they hold on the inside line? On the brakes, makes the apex, forces the side-by-side on their way through Fangio. Nose to tail, that's Jaworski, that's Soul, that's Dave Martin wanting to get a look at this stick. Kurt Moss is in this mix too, don't rule him out. Soul on the inside, now compromised Dave Martin on the inside. Can he hold on through Cunningham? Yes. But Dave Martin's going to try to be patient through Collier, but won't be too timid to make this move stick. He sees championship points up ahead, and he's going to want to grab them. Let's go on board with Dave Martin to get a glimpse of what he's going through right now, being stuck behind Casey Soul up ahead. Over the curb, on the brakes, nice and early to make sure there's no contact between these guys. Casey trying to abuse track limits as much as possible. They are going out a little bit further wide than normal. Everybody trying to break the slipstream right now. Dave Martin looking over his shoulder to see where Kurt Maas is, if he's in any threat now. Tucking in, is it going to be 3 wide, lined up? No, as Casey goes towards the inside, gets a wee bit squirrely on the brake, super late, trail braking, tries to give it to Jaworski, holding on for dear life, single file ahead we go. 15-8, 18-1, 16-5, 15-6. These guys have got crazy lap times, giving up time every which way to each other, as Dave Martin's now under threat from Kurt Moss, who isn't going to be too patient about waiting for another opportunity, as Dave has been lurking in the wings of Soul. Penguin now getting involved in this mix-up too from P7. Huelsman and Pezzelato are also right behind. Pezzelato closer. Huelsman is 11 seconds back as Martin and Moss side by side on their way. Oh my goodness, is that contact a little bit of, but just enough to slow him down and not really lose out on much. But Penguin's now forcing the side by side through Kurt Moss, and he's not going to be happy about that after that position battle turns into another one. Still going side by side. Penguin's absolutely boxed it and has nowhere to go. Completely locked into that racing line right now. As we go through Tower now, turn 13. Clear now. Kurt Moss and Penguin leaving it up to them to sort out this battle behind Dave Martin. Oh, Kurt Moss drifting a little bit through the penultimate turn now of 16 Le Mans. Keeps it held on though.
Looks like Leeder's about to go for a move for the lead. I think it's happening right now, actually.
Sure is, actually. On the inside of Sunset, we talked about this side-by-side a couple of times. Santiago not getting away with holding on to that. Pushed a little wide there around the outside.
Oh, and I've just seen Jaworski being taken out by, I think it was Casey Soul.
I thought I saw that in the background. I wasn't sure about it for sure. I saw the smoke fly up in the corner of my widescreen monitor, but they've definitely trickled down. Casey's down in 6th. Jaworski in 9th now as Penguin and Moss are inverting positions 4th and 5th. Jaworski drops out of the race. That's another DNF here at Plebian Racing for the finale.
Yeah, it's a little bit chaotic, this race, which reverse grids always are. But I guess, you know, end of the season, people are maybe letting a little bit loose. We might have to have our admins have a word with some of the drivers to try to avoid some of these incidents in the future.
Ooh, Penguin and Soul. Soul not giving up here. May have trickled down the order a little bit, they did, but still giving it up where they can and knows that they have the pace to give it up to guys like Penguin around this track in Florida. Super respectful, super clean as much as we possibly can. Mistakes are forgivable, obviously. Casey making it work around the outside on Penguin. That's not a move done easily.
Dave Martin now into P3, so he's profited from a bit of chaotic battling, I think, up the front of the field.
Absolutely. A lot of people cashing in on this, actually. I think Penguin, too. My goodness. Still behind Casey, nose to tail. I thought there was going to be contact there, but no. Penguin, excuse me. I thought was making out cleanly, but I saw a glimpse of broken glass in his car. Thought he was doing well for himself, but you're right. Martin being the biggest successor here. After all these DNFs. Oh, it goes a little wide through Sunset. Now Kurt Moss wants this position from Dave Martin. Side by side on the exit, on the straight, Dave Martin's cool down for the push to pass. Will Kurt Moss take advantage and be on it? Not quite yet. Thought he had enough speed with the slipstream and the exit speed alone, but not enough yet. Still nose to tail. They're still catching up to the guy ahead. That's Santiago. Casey Soul having a DNF now, dropping out from this race. Must have had another incident in the last 13 minutes. Joseph Ciao gaining a position now. These three are glued to each other. This is all within a second. That's Dave Martin, Kurt Moss, and Adrian Pezzelato.
Yeah, and Penguin's really not that far behind either, so we've got a full way battle for second here.
That's true. That's only 1.5 seconds back. One lap of fighting between the three of these guys is bound to slow them down that much, at least, if not more. That'll make this a four-way battle for P3 and coveted championship points.
And Andy Santiago is not too far ahead either, so this could turn into bad of a P2 with 5 cars.
And more importantly, we talked about that controller not giving him feedback. That's going to lead to some major inconsistencies, I feel like, through turn 1 and through turn 17. So I'm curious to see how well he can stay ahead and defend these positions. We've got 12 minutes left, so it's not unheard of at all for something to happen. That's the other thing. A lot of dropouts, but still 12 minutes remaining. A lot of opportunities to keep fighting for championship points. Kurt Moss on the inside of Dave Martin. Can't make it work. Pezzelato going sideways, following their lines through. Gets it collected. Loses out a considerable amount of time as Dave Martin goes side by side with Santiago on the front straight, I think. Almost side by side, holds to the outside line, doesn't quite threaten him yet through 1, but that doesn't mean he won't do it on his way through turn 3. Trying to defend versus Kurt Moss, boxing him into the outside line. Dave Martin returning to his racing line, and Kurt Moss getting thrown for a loop following a line that wasn't opportunistic for him. The carousel and all the way to the hairpin. Dave Martin's not on the push to pass, but Kurt Moss is trying to defend from Pezzelato, who's also on it. Like you said, Penguins now in the mix now. All these guys jockeying for position, covering each other off. Kurt Moss on the inside, Penguin on the outside of Pezzelato. Not able to get that move done, and all 5 of these guys are just going to keep on bumping into each other and grouping up for now. More action up ahead. Martin leading the charge, trying to hold on to the lead against Santiago, who's off into the grass, trying to find a place to rejoin this battle. But that might be the back of this pack as everybody else is trickling in. Penguin going for another move, going for a 2 for Tuesday. Not quite able to get it done on Santiago, and Pezzelato trickles back to the back of this pack, being a little bit more patient with his move that he wants to make.
Yeah, it was a costly mistake for Santiago. He dropped 4 positions in that one corner. I think there was a little bit of contact with Dave there, but they were side by side, so it's probably just a racing incident with the door bang.
Absolutely, and that one move, that little door bang, like you said, cost him those 4 positions, and now the 4th one is done. Talked about Penguin being patient. He waited for the last straight before sunset. Is he going to be later on the brakes than Santiago? He is. And he keeps that car planted over the bumps somehow, despite all the damage. Keeps it in front of Santiago. Penguin is quite quicker than Pezzelato last lap around. He's going to want to get this move done sooner rather than later. He's carrying a lot more speed through turn 1. Dave Martin's now compromised, it looks like, as he lost out to Kurt Moss now. Positions inverted for 2nd and 3rd. Feel like Dave Martin's now under threat from Pezzelato, who's around the outside of this carousel on their way to the hairpin. Pezzelato giving him the squeeze a little bit on the inside. Has the move done, a car length ahead, but Dave Martin clinches to the apex, and over the curb he goes, keeping on.
Yeah, it looks like Dave's going to fight back with the push to pass on this little run down to the next couple of corners.
Through Fangio on the push to pass, challenging up here towards Cunningham. Around the outside, we saw him do it a couple times now on Pezzelato. He can't get it done now. Penguin right behind, and Santiago's fallen away from this pack of cars. Dave Martin snapping back. Lunge on the inside, held onto the apex, got it to stick, but his exit speed isn't that great. Pezzolato's going to cheekily snap back. Penguin trying to make a move on the inside, forces Dave a little wide with his nose, and grabs that position away. I'm not sure what you'd call that little force push with the nose there as Dave Martin goes wide, and hopefully doesn't have a slowdown to boot, as he not only lost out on the position and the time, but probably some sort
Yeah,
of
I think Penguin was just boxed in there, so he was going to try a little bit of a bump draft with Dave, but unfortunately the second hit they were in the middle of a turn, so it ended up being a bump and run.
looked that way. Innocent parties concerned, side by side through 17. No love lost between these two friends. A little bump given back to Penguin from Dave as they go side by side through Sunset. These guys, knowing each other's limits and skill levels, very well able to do something only unthinkable. As we said, it was impossible to go side by side through 17 and 1. They try to do it again. Dave, trying to go for a switchback, was thinking of the side by side, backed out of that cautiously. What a combative move between the two of these guys. That's a beautiful race, and that's the stuff we love to see.
Yeah, that was pretty spicy. Not too dirty. Some aggressive moves, but yeah, it's all fair.
All fair, exactly, in Love and War. And I think you said it. All that started there right before the back straight where Penguin was trying to get a little bump draft going when he was boxed in and just got a little sideways for Martin while he was already having that wheel turn. But everything looking good. The orders just switched around and Santiago's back in the mix, so about a second back from Martin, as these four haven't quite given up on each other yet. We thought Penguin was going to trickle down and accept defeat in 7th or 6th place here. He's been steadily fighting his way forward for the past 6 minutes. He's definitely closing down the gap on James Leeder. He's closing down the gap on everybody up ahead. James Leeder will have no chance to get this championship away from the Penguin, the flightless bird. Santiago 4/10 back from Dave Martin on the cool down now, but Martin's on it, so that gap is going to open up on this back straight. As the flightless bird maintains his 1 second lead, Santiago locks up the brake through Sunset. Keeps it collected, but the gap is still mounting. 14's coming out from the front runners now. Only a few tenths separating the guys ahead as far as lap time's concerned. 14.9 for Leeder, 14.0 for Moss, 14.8 for Pezzelato, 14.5 for Penguin. 16s for Dave Martin, and Santiago with a 15.0. Might see him catching Dave Martin this lap, if not sooner. Andy Santiago around the outside of Dave Martin as they approach the hairpin. We've seen this attempted many times before. Dave going a little bit wider than he normally does. He usually hugs that apex and that curb, maybe being a little bit more defensive. We saw a little lockup from him, defending hard against Andy Santiago, who has the pace to get around Dave Martin, but maybe not around the outside. Dave Martin on the inside. Can he hold on towards Cunningham? He is able to do so on our way through Collier. Big sweeping left-hander through 12 on their way to Tower. Yes, Dave Martin on the inside. Andy with a little lockup. Keeping it collected. Let's switch ahead to Penguin right now. It's 2/10 separating these guys up ahead. Pezzelato and Penguin going at it. Penguin on the optimal line, looking for a good run through Le Mans. Can he get it? He's out there. Is he going to get pushed out to the dirt and slow down? He sure is. Gives Pezzelato a little bump for that for good measure to remind him that he's occupying some real estate on the outside. Nose to tail now. Wheels almost alongside as Penguin falls back. Cool down for both of them. Can he hold out on the outside? Super late on the brakes and almost goes to that familiar tire barrier. He's going to carry a ton of speed through 17 and down the front straight.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Pezzelato is starting to struggle a little bit on his tyres because he did go with the mediums against our advice. And it seems like he's struggling a little bit in these long corners compared to Penguin.
That's got to be it. And great observation, Luke. He did not heed our advice about the hard tires. I was waiting for you to mention that about it to him when he said he was struggling a little bit with traction, but that's definitely fading away from beneath him. His tires must be overheating and losing grip. Penguin just able to have more traction through these long corners.
Penguin's also got a couple of push to passes more than Pezzelato for the last lap of this race, so I imagine this isn't over yet.
And Penguin's got a lot of damage, so it's gonna go back and forth, I think, for the last couple minutes. Penguins on the push to pass now. Huelsman and Santiago verting position 6th and 7th. I want to stay glued to this for just a moment longer. I feel like Penguin's been setting this up. Through Cunningham, Penguin can't make it happen. Didn't close down the gap through the Fangio chicane. On our way to Tower at 13. A little bit timid around that right-hander. He's carrying a lot of speed now. He's closing down the gap to Pezzelato. 3/10. Will it be 2 towards the penultimate corner? Penguin's going to be taking a better line through here over the curbs, closing down the gap significantly through Le Mans around the final corner. We saw this happen last time. He knows better this time, nose to tail. Let's see what Penguin's getting a look at. The big old derriere of Pezzelato on the back straight, approaching 17. Who's going to dive where? Penguin to the outside. Pezzelato clinching onto the inside. Super late on the brakes, trying to cling on to any grip available. Pezzolato's not drifting wide, surprisingly, holding onto that inside line. Penguin is having an easy time around the outside, carrying a ton of speed with that extra grip he has on those hard tires. Side by side on the front straight towards turn 1 we go. Penguin on the inside, turns in super early, has the move well and done on Pezzelato. Oh, Pezzolato's not giving up yet. Almost kisses Penguin as he yeets it over the curb and tosses that rear end around. Around the carousel and approaching the hairpin. Gap is mounting half a second. Can Pezzelato close it down? Penguin with a lock up into the hairpin. Out into the dirt a little bit, but not going to compromise his line through Fangio. Holding on through Cunningham. On their way through these double left-handers to the tower. Fog still here. Doesn't look like it's coming in. Visibility won't be a problem in the final moments of this race. James Leeder with a 4-second gap in the final lap of the race. The white flag is out for these guys. This is the finale of the Audi TT Cup. This will determine who's drinking champagne here tonight, folks. Don't be scared and don't be worried. There will be more Plebian racing coming at you, potentially on Saturdays, but guaranteed on Wednesdays. We're going to have the MX5 Cup race coming up soon. 2 more races after that. Pezzelato giving a flashy flash to Penguin as a good thank you for the battle in Courage. Checker flag for James Leeder. Checkered flag for Moss, checkered flag for Penguin, P3, and the winner of the championship on the World Tour. Pezzelato with a hard-felt battle for P4. Dave Martin with a great win, with a great battle for P5. Huelsman in 6th. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And 7th for Santiago, the controller laptop fighting vixen. Joseph Ciao in 8th, the Smoke Man in 9th, and Curtis Gregory in 10th. Casey, Sol, Conrad, Jaworski, Nico, Jordan, White, Pasha, Patterson, Ozzy, Wilson, Kevin Ospina, and Brett Zumina, excuse me, all joining us here tonight. And I gotta say, thank you, everybody. This has been a memorable series. This has been a great time. I can't thank you all enough for the experience alone, let alone the good racing and entertainment I've had all these 7 weeks long. It has been amazing. I want to grab Penguin in the booth right now while we can, so he can start bragging about his championship win. Anything else you want to talk about before I grab him, Luke?
No, I think I'm good. It was obviously a chaotic race, but it was certainly entertaining. So
Certainly was entertaining, and Penguin couldn't contain himself. He had to leave the server. He was so excited.
Oh, well, I just got back. Hold on. What happened? Oh yeah, I was just getting out of my rig right now. I am hot. That track is rough. That's a workout.
We were just going over the standings. We were talking about the winners and losers of the race, and obviously, I think we know where you ended up on this totem pole.
Yes.
James Leeder didn't exactly have a fighting chance here, and you made sure of that. So congratulations on the Plebian World Tour Season 2. How do you feel?
Thank you. It's definitely putting a smile on my face. Happy that I was able to keep up the points and come up on top.
Not only that, you're able to show up for every single race, just about get points in every single race as well, and just managed to squeak it out so nobody really had a run at you in the final coming moments. You know, we talked about this at the early part of the season. You know, Pasha clinched it from you last time around. Nowhere to be seen this time. Got anything to say to Pasha?
Oh man, from what I've heard, it's just a series of bad luck for him on all these races, so I don't know.
Yeah, Pasha definitely not having the luck going his way this time around. And that's super unfortunate because, like me and Luke would like to agree, thought the Audi TT Cup was going to go his way. This is a car that he's been super comfortable with in the past, but things just not going his way, like you said, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It was good racing in the TT Cup.
Let's see if we can get James Leeder in here, and then I think Hawksworth is Jaworski. We'll grab him too. So we've got James Leeder, and I think Hawksworth, you are Conrad Jaworski, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
All right, so we've got P1 for Penguin. Leader was P2 in the championship, and Conrad Jaworski taking P3 after not starting any of the first 3 races. How do you guys feel about your championship standing and the way things went?
I'm pretty happy with that. Actually, I know Penguin is a very strong competitor, and head-to-head, sometimes I can get him, but most of the time I think he's a bit quicker than me. So coming second to him, I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that was good, and especially if you look at the way the points trickled down, I think at the very end, you're still only 21 points, no, 15, God, my math, 11 points away, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or 15 points away. So if you had you shown up for Spa, you could have given him a run for his money, James.
Yeah.
And then Jaworski.
Course,
go ahead.
I'm gonna say the first race you don't know that's gonna matter. You're like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen at the end. You get to the end, you're like, man, if only I'd been there for the first race.
Yeah. And then now you know, right? Now you know how it all would have panned out.
is that your attitude towards practicing and qualifying too?
Yeah, pretty much.
We saw that you showed up right at the end of quali and didn't even get a lap in this round.
Yep.
Literally
the
at
first
the
time I moved the car was when the green flag dropped, so that was cool.
Well, you did a pretty good job considering, especially in the second race after you've had 30 minutes of practice.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Sunset was a bit of a surprise on lap 1. I didn't realize that it was like driving over the surface of the moon. Almost killed a couple people, but it's fine. I recovered. Nobody died. We all lived.
Yeah. The final turn in turn one, catching, I think, everybody out by a little bit at one point or another. And then Jaworski not starting the first 3 races, ending up in 3rd place with 70 points. How do you feel about your championship? And what do you think you want to do for season 3 if the World Tour reigns on?
I really just wanted to join in, get used to racing with a whole new group of people. I didn't really have any expectations set, and I just wanted to have fun. That was the most important thing. If season 3 carries on, I'd be really interested to see how everyone gets on par with the new car and new tracks.
And how did you feel like the season went then? You said your primary goal was to just get in the groove of things and have some fun. Mission accomplished, close, didn't hit the mark.
I feel like I exceeded my own expectations most of the time.
Right on. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm definitely glad to hear that. And thank you very much, guys, for joining. This championship would not be the same without the 3 of you guys leading the charge and throwing a little bit of spice into this. I do want to get more people into the mix here and talking on stream, if that's okay. So unless you guys have more to say, I'm going to throw you out and toss more people in, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, all good here. Thank you.
Right
Yeah,
on.
that's good to me.
Be gone, folks. And I want to grab Joseph Ciao.
I think we better get Dave in here too.
Ozzy Wilson. Where's Dave? We're going to grab Dave Martin. Okay.
The broadcast. Oh.
Joseph Ciao, Dave Martin, Ozzy Wilson, Jordan White. That's who I was looking for. Who else did we need to grab? Pasha's gone. Pezzelato. Oh, we'll do. I feel like we should do Huelsman and Pezzelato alone after this. So get you guys cooking before we get the Huelsman in here. Huelsman held on to P4, excuse me. Joseph Ciao, Jordan White, 5th and 7th, sandwiching Ozzy Wilson for 6th. And Dave Martin down in 12th with 23 points. Hey, guys, how'd your race go? And congratulations on finishing off season 2. Oh man, it was that went yeah, we think me and Luke had our own opinion of how that went too, because man, it was just crazy where it was you, Penguin, Pezzelato, Penguins boxed in, gave you the bump draft through the corner, you lost out a little bit, tried to rejoin the track. The whole thing was just like one incident trickling into another. It was just absolute insanity, but that was like just it was one overtake and trying to defend and then trying to overtake back again and then just pushed it past to defend, and it was just absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was a great battle. I think Luke's right. We tried to stay glued to that 5-way battle as much as possible. That was exciting. Yeah, for sure. And then Joseph Ciao, are you still in here? How's your how are you doing? Who other guy? Really? How is that?
Yeah, I'm not
How did that
hearing
happen?
anyone.
Oh goodness. Oh god. I wonder how
Um,
long that's been happening for.
Please tell me not the whole broadcast.
I hope not. For fuck's sake. Not again.
It can't be
Not
the whole
again.
broadcast because I heard
I
myself.
heard
at some
Penguin
point.
talking on his part, so
Yeah.
Okay.
It must have just been the
Might
switch
have
to
been
the ending screen. That
Might have
did
been
it.
a scene. Might have been a scene I switched over to. I'm gonna chalk it up to that, and hopefully that was the only mistake. Whew. I'm gonna pray. Race needs to be started audio issues. Only wish. And then
Yeah, I think it's sorted now.
okay.
Okay.
But yeah, Joseph not having a great race 1 or race 2, right?
Oh, got taken out in turn 1, race 2.
That was against Andy Santiago, Mr. Controller Man.
Yep.
Man.
yeah, you got shunted.
Yep. I don't like reverse grid.
Yeah, we didn't see exactly what happened there. We just saw the end result of you spinning off the side into the grass and the wall. So yeah, definitely felt for you at that point because we were saying just before the race that you'd be looking to recover some points from the first race, starting from the front row and hopefully run away with the lead. But unfortunately,
was
that's
the
not what
plan.
happened.
Yep.
Yeah, we were definitely rooting for you, and then I guess the commentary's curses bequeathed to you. I apologize for that.
That is a good point. We did literally just say that he's hopefully going to run away with the lead. So
Yeah.
it's actually our fault.
I'll forgive you guys.
But all that being said, was still somehow able to stay ahead in P5 ahead of Ozzie Wilson and Jordan White in the championship standings, right?
That was the goal.
So Joseph Ciao held on to P5 ahead of Jordan White, and Jordan White having a bit of a
Shit show.
roller coaster of races himself, because at one point I feel like you were also well ahead and into a lead that we thought we were never going to talk about you again, and then tumble down the order once or twice.
Well, I went sideways with somebody into T1, hit a bump, so I bumped them to the side, felt a little bad about it, and James was pretty much right there at the same time, so he took advantage, got around, and I was
That's
going to
right.
let the other guy by because, we went too wide on T1, but turn 3, he ended up hitting me in the rear. I went into a wall, and that was just it for me.
Yep.
After race 1, because what was it, lap 1 going into sunset on race 1, somebody hit a bump, went sideways, and totaled my car on lap 1 of race 1. So I did a lap where my wheel was 90 degrees to the right.
And then
To
you
go
pit right
straight.
after that. Yeah.
Then I had the pit. Then I had the pit timer, and that whole race was just ruined after that. Yeah, so it was not a good race day for me.
I'm sorry to hear that, bro. That's
It happens. At least it
hectic,
wasn't
to say
Dave
the
this
least.
time.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Dave.
It's always a good day when it's not Dave taking you out.
I was thinking while I was going over this, I was like, I'm in none of these. This is a first.
You had I don't think we saw too much of you in the first race, but the second race we saw a lot of you, and you had a very clean race.
Very clean
Sorry.
race. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really happy with it.
And it was
good to hear. Thank
really
y'all.
and it was really combative too. Like, and I think in a great way too. I think it was really great combative driving. Like, you didn't give up positions without knowing how you were setting up to fight back for it going forward. I thought that was just beautiful shit to see. Excuse the language.
Thank you.
I do want to keep going down the order now. I think we've touched base with the three of you guys as much as I needed to. Anything else you guys wanted to bring up or talk about while I bring in the boxing duo of Huelsman and Pezzelato to duel it out one last time here for the World Tour?
Just thanks for commentating.
Oh, thanks you guys for having me. Really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. And thanks for bearing with my mistakes, and hope to see you guys next season too.
Yeah.
See you,
Right
Sauger.
on. See you guys. Oh, and I should also mention, too, by the way, that none of this would be possible without our support and our help from Dave Martin, Joseph Ciao, Jordan White, Luke Bowmeister, and all the staff here at Plebian Racing. That includes Penguin, even though he doesn't like to be included in the staff. This is a team effort to make these productions, to make the graphics, to make the overlays, to make all this stuff happen. The events, the servers, delivery exchanges, the transit van, the point system, all the stuff you know and love at Plebian Racing. This is not a one-man show, but thank you to the people who got us all together to make this happen. Can't thank them enough. And you want to be a part of an organization like this that puts on cool stuff like this, just check out the Discord below. That being said, we're going to move on and grab Huelsman and Pezzelato. Hopefully they're watching the stream and know that they're coming on board. Huelsman and Pezzelato, you're here with the booth for the last time of Season 2 of the World Tour.
I was going to say, it's not going to be the last time.
Last time on the World Tour. I hope it's not the last time.
No, it's the last time. You're being banned.
After the atrocious show you guys put on, you guys weren't within a second of each other all race long.
Oh, I know.
I know.
How am
That's
I
his fault.
supposed to
He's the
drum
winner.
up? How am I supposed to drum up conflict and controversy if you guys aren't even next to each other? Huh?
That's okay.
Making my job impossible.
Yeah, I had controversy with other people this race.
I think we had an affair with Penguin. I had him
Yes.
race 1, and Sin had him on race 2. So
There was a lot of controversy going on, and I think another one we saw was you and like Casey Soul towards the end of race. Oh God, all the races are blending together now, but a lot of back and forth going on. It seems to be the trend here at Sebring. Oh, by the way, first of all, congratulations on P4 in the championship. Do you know how that happened? Just 1 point ahead of Joseph Ciao in 5th, and just 3 points ahead of Ozzy Wilson in 6th place. Congratulations.
thank you. I even missed 2 races, so I don't know what would have happened. I don't think I could have beat Conrad, though. That dude's... He's not even from this universe. He's like a second and a half faster than an alien, so...
If you
But
made
no, it's
both
fun.
races, mathematically, it makes sense. You could have jumped him.
True. I did out-qualify my race pace, which is a general trend for me for race 1.
You really
but I
did. That was amazing qualifying.
I don't know where it came from. And then I ran the medium tires race 1, which was why I was able to hold on to Penguin for half of it. And then they just gave it up, and he drove off into the distance. And I think was like 14 seconds ahead of me by the end of race 1.
Yeah, you put up a really good battle for a long time, but unfortunately, yeah, it looked like those medium tires just disintegrated underneath you, and then Penguin just drove away.
Race 2, I switched to the hards, but lap 1, I got put into the wall. So
I think everybody had a catastrophic race too, unfortunately. I don't think it went anybody's way, especially with the reverse grid, right?
I think that's the nature of the reverse grid for me.
Speak for yourself. Both races, I went from like P12 to P5 at the end of the first lap.
I was just looking at the results standings. And I think you had a net gain of +8. Yeah. For the end there. That's just pretty insane to watch.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. It was just like it's happened multiple times in the reverse grid. I think the first time it was at Road America, it was just parting the seas.
Yep.
Just, stick on the racing line and be conservative, and then everyone just kind of drives out of the way.
I'll give it to Sin too, because he didn't go on a date so he could do this race.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Well,
Damn.
to be fair, like, I was supposed to get a text saying, like, come pick me up. Like, she was like, yo, do you want to go for beers? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then I never got a text. So that's why I was like, I didn't go anywhere. So I showed up with, 2 minutes left in quali.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I got the Discord, and he wanted the tire pressures. It's like, all right, whatever.
I know where the real loyalties lie in this fucking in this world.
Yeah.
With you guys.
Get his priorities straight.
Yeah, right.
And don't even tell me that she texted you between race 1 and race 2, so you had a chance.
I wouldn't have
to get
answered.
that.
No, she missed her fucking chance, man. Let me tell you, it's over.
You hear that? This is where the priorities lie here at Plebian Racing. We only want dedicated people 110%, please. Anything else is unacceptable. Man.
Exactly.
But you guys absolutely ran away with it and always continuously put on a show for us. Will you guys be back next time we run something? Don't know about the World Tour. It sounds like we're definitely doing a small wheels Formula 3 once the MX-5s wrap up.
That's more my style.
I will be
your
here
style.
I'll be here Tuesday.
I'm an open wheel guy.
Okay. So we'll see you guys on Tuesday for GT4.
I'll be there. I don't know if Sin.
No, I have to re-download it and then buy the DLC, and I'm kind of. I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but you know, I'm kind of ACC'd out. We ran it a bunch over in our league, and
I think we did like 10 seasons.
Yeah, in like what 6 months? It was ridiculous.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I actually took a break from like November to April just because I was like, all right, that's enough sim racing, and then came back to Plebian. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that same sort of thing. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I did a lot of ACC racing last year, and yeah, I haven't touched it except a little bit of coaching and a little bit of helping some other guys out for races coming up over the last like months. And it is really refreshing to come back and race some interesting combos in Assetto Corsa 1.
Are you going to be there Tuesday?
I will be stewarding and driving the safety car.
Oh, right on.
Nice.
So yeah, watch out. If you're bad, I will not hesitate to slap you with a drive-through.
No, that's good. That's good.
Please.
I think that with these cars, it's okay to have the elbows out a little bit, but like you get any sort of damage on those GT3s or GT4s, you can really feel it. The aero damage and all that stuff.
Yeah. Any of those crashes we had, race 2, that would have been everybody in the pits for 5 minutes in ACC.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we're hoping that the safety car will, I guess, add a little value to the season. We're gonna just try use it in place of a full race restart. So exactly what you said. When there's a big incident on lap 1, instead of just restarting the race, we're gonna pull out the safety car, give people a chance to repair, then unlap themselves and rejoin the back of the grid. So you get another chance at salvaging.
I don't know, man. You're selling it to me. I might have to sign up.
Hey, it'll be interesting. We got like 20s sign up, so it should be a good grid.
There's at least one other PRD, the league that we're from, has joined, and then I think another one is on the fence, but was saying some interest. Josh is Mech. I know
he's in it, but Josh is
pretty fast. He's faster than the two of us, and so he'll give the likes of Penguin and those guys a run for their money. So.
And there's also some other ACC newcomers. I think we got a couple guys from GRG and then a couple guys from Pro Sim Racing that a lot of you guys have never met before that are quite fast. So I think that will be interesting to see all of these, the fastest people spearheading this ACC match coming up. Is what I'm going to kind of paint the picture of.
Wins and podiums are fun, but really just racing.
Exactly. Battles and racing, right?
Yeah. This is probably the most fun I've had over the course of a season in all my sim racing, and I've finished better than P4 before, but this one will be the one I'm like, and part of it too is like this whole interview and like broadcasting thing is kick ass.
You guys are blowing it out of the park. This is like so sick.
Right on. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for that.
Hope we're doing a good job, but also, like I said earlier, this is a team thing. You know, the racing wouldn't happen without the servers, without the management from everybody else. It's not just this is the easy stuff we get to do, is just sit back and shoot the you know what, but all the behind the scenes stuff happens from many other people here at Plebian Racing. But I'm so glad you guys are enjoying this, because you guys talked about it with ACC. I got burnt out just in racing in general, and this has been my refresh, to say the least, where I love this. This is my passion now. I really do enjoy just watching you guys have a great time here. Doesn't matter where you guys end up in my eyes. It's just as long as it's good, entertaining racing, and you guys are selling it for me.
I can tell you enjoy it because, like, I don't know, you always seem so excited You know, it's effortless. It's effortless.
It is. This makes my day, honestly. Yeah, sometimes it's a drag and I'm tired and I'm beat up and my body hurts, but man, yeah, I get a little invigorated by this stuff. It's very easy to just have fun and be myself behind this microphone. It's very easy. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Today I was like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that today I was about 20 minutes before I was gonna hop on and practice. I was like, man, I don't know, I'm tired. I don't know. And I was just like, you know what? I got nothing else to do. I'll do it. And now I'm just like, why would I ever not want to do this?
Yeah, I think the good thing about like the community at Plebian Racing is you can make it as, you know, to a certain degree as serious or as, you know, relaxed as you want. So even if you have a day where you're like, I haven't practiced, I've had no time, I'm really tired, you can still just show up and you're always going to be racing someone. It might not be the normal crowd that you race, like at the front of the field or something, if that's where you're at normally. But there's a nice spread of pace, and everyone there's good racing all the way down the field normally. So hopefully we see that again in the ACC race, and we're going to be running another broadcast for that season as well. So going to have a different host, but same high quality broadcast, hopefully, just with a bit of a different personality on the mic. I'm sure Saga might join in as a guest for some of the races, but yeah, the boss man himself, Dave Martin's going to be running that broadcast next season.
Yeah, and Dave's
he
in
owes
chat
me
now.
a battle.
An ACC or on AC, just anywhere.
Well, we were at Long Beach. We were having a nice little fight, and he goofed and ended both of our races pretty much. And so we were actually like, I finished behind him race 2, and there's like 90 seconds left, and I said, hey Dave, you owe me from Long Beach, let's race. and he said, no, this is my best finish of the season, I'm going. I'm like, all right. So I'm going to take that with him. I was going to take that with, you know, to him on ACC, but it sounds like now I'll have to be back for a following season. So
yeah, you're just gonna have to come back for the F3 races. You have to now.
Man, I am just terrible at the open wheel stuff.
Me too. I am as well. Yeah. Wow. Tell me you guys are friends without telling me you guys are friends.
Man, like you're quick in the touring cars, kick my ass, and now you better show up so I can kick your ass for once, for fuck's sake.
Oh man, this is drama I can spin up for next season. Thank you so much. I'm just start taking notes right now.
Yeah, I don't know. We were pretty close in ACC, but yeah, you get an open wheel, a high downforce. Like we were doing a season of the 2013 F1 cars, and I couldn't keep it on the track for 3 laps straight. Just a totally different.
It's a different
idea.
Animal, yeah. It's just it's. The open wheel stuff, the high downforce stuff in Assetto Corsa is so weird. The physics are so different than the touring car stuff. It's unnatural almost.
Yeah. Anything like over 500 horsepower, and my brain can't keep up, or it can't fathom it, I guess. I don't know.
Oh God!
Sounds like you better sign up for practice, to be honest.
That's
I felt the same way.
Like, it might be difficult, but you know, you do it enough, you're gonna get it eventually.
Yeah. I really only have time for like one season at a time, so.
I'm the same way. If I do more than like one weekly series, I just get burnt out and shut down.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people that practices for like 2 or 3 hours before each race throughout the week, and if I had to do that times 2 or times 3, you know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do anything else.
Exactly. It's up way too much time. I like to focus on
some
one
of us have
series and
jobs.
just practice. Hey. Soon enough. These interviews will go well. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for here at Plebian Racing in the booth. I do want to give a shout out one last time for some of the events we have coming up. I know we're on the final leg here of the Small Wheels MX5 Cup. Got 2 more races left. We've got Lime Rock coming up on Wednesday. We're going to have Okayama Piper in 2 weeks after that. After that, we're going to be doing F3 on Wednesdays, and we're going to be doing something on Saturdays. Be tentatively waiting on Discord for that announcement. It will be coming out shortly. Not only is all of that going on as far as Assetto Corsa, we still have the time attacks, which are going on right now. The clock will be resetting at 10 p.m. So, in 2 hours time Pacific Standard Time, we'll be switching over the track for a new one, downhill circuit. Be on the lookout for that. On top of that, we have Assetto Corsa Competizione GT4 starting up at Brands Hatch on Tuesday. Live stewarding, safety car deployment potentially, hopefully not, and we're going to have live commentary, same high quality production here at Plebian Racing, probably a little bit better, with our commandant, our fearless leader, Dave Martin, signing up to do the commentary. And with that being said, this is going to wrap it up for us in the booth. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we sign off?
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to Plebian for putting on a fun series.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to you, Saga, for running the stream. It's always a lot of fun. Whenever I'm here to help out, it's always a good time in the booth. So, yeah, hopefully see you again on the stream in the future.
Right on, guys. Appreciate that as always. And for everybody watching at home or in a rig in a race you just got sweaty in, remember to stay safe, and we'll